Hi, I'm Ashley. Welcome to Truth and Reality. This podcast is dedicated to just that, talking about the ups, the downs, the in-betweens of life, and how God and faith fits into all of it. We are here this week with Melissa.
Glad to be back. Grateful to be back, actually.
We're talking about gratitude again. And this week we're going to be talking about the practical tips we have that we have experienced in practicing gratitude. We talked about last week, 1 Thessalonians 5, where it talks about being grateful in every season.
All things, yep.
In all things, give thanks.
Yes.
Yes. And so we are back with our mugs, and this mug actually says...
I was just going to say, I like your mug. I like the saying.
It says, see the good. We didn't plan this out. Actually, she went and made tea for us.
And I was like, I gave you that mug, and now I'm like, I just saw what was on the side of it.
Yeah. And
tell me a little bit behind that.
Well, this mug, I'm pretty sure it was given to me by someone quite a few years ago. I don't think we were quite great friends at this point. It was probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Yep.
And I was in a really tricky season, and it was really hard to see the good every single day. I think there was a lot of stress. There was a lot of pressure. I was going through trauma. I had little children. That this cup, really, I'd pour my coffee in every morning, and it would help me posture my heart is I'm going to see the good, even when life's hard. I'm going to practice that. So every time I pick it up or reheat my coffee like 15 times.
As a mom, how many times? Yeah.
Yeah, I would like see the good. And it was a reminder, and I needed that reminder in the season over and over and over again to see the good. I had so much good in my life, but sometimes the hard parts can cloud what's there.
I was just thinking that, overshadow. I've been in the same place. Right? Where the hard overshadows the good. And it's like, I think you have to look for the good. I think you have to see the good. And I think especially entering into the season of November, right? We have to choose gratefulness and gratitude, even in places of hard. I think you and I can identify different places of hard in the seasons we're in. It's not the hard we had before. It's not a fresh divorce or fresh grief. But I think there's still levels of hard that we'll all experience while we're here on this earth. But I think seeing the good in it, not focusing on the hard, right? And choosing to at least put the lens of our life on the good things, you know?
We can even be in seasons. I'd say I'm in a really positive season right now. I have a lot of things in my life, and maybe you do too, to be grateful for. Family, friends, obviously my children, part of my family is extended family. I started a new job, and I was actually talking with my life coach this week, and I said, gosh, it feels really hard because all these things in my life are really good, but I have I don't feel grateful right now, or I'm struggling to really enjoy this season, even though all of the things in my life were good. It's just an abundance of it, and I think stress comes with it. And that's a position too for us to remind ourselves of gratitude, and to remind ourselves, even when we do feel tired or worn out or so full in good seasons, that gratitude repositions our focus. And we talked about that last time, that perspective shift.
Right, and I think that's exactly what I was going to say, is gratitude lets us look at the lens of our life differently if we choose it, right? And I think it's a choice daily. It's just, there's probably hard things that we're navigating, but I think when we look through the lens of gratitude, it lets us see even the small things, that happen. And I think, it's a choice,
So practically speaking, we wanted to talk practical. We talked about the verse of giving thanks in all things. That's the will of God for us. So how do we practice gratitude? What are some things that you've experienced or done practicing gratitude?
I think there's multiple things for me that have worked and I have found helpful in this journey, and probably even before, is I think the power of writing it down is one, and I know we've talked about that on here before, is writing down what I'm grateful for, the things that are going well in my life, not necessarily the negative things. And if it is a negative thing, adding in the end of what's going to turn around or what I hope to be something positive. I remember one year, Matt was in the thick of cancer, and we did a gratefulness tree, and we drew a tree in our living room. It was sticky little adhesive, and wrote down just little things that we were grateful for. So I think there's power in that. I think for me, what has worked too is in a season that is hard, another outward expression of gratefulness is by giving out. Whether that's my time, whether that's my talent, or just the ability to bless someone, maybe giving someone a compliment in the grocery store, buying a friend a coffee. I think when we're in a place where we're hurting or don't see good things going on in our life, probably the world would tell us to not do nice and kind things. But I think for me, it's helped me actually heal, and it actually makes me look at life differently and be more grateful for blessing someone with coffee or a compliment or doing something kind.
Yeah. And often for me, the same thing. When I do show up differently for somebody or notice somebody, it's almost as if like this perspective of for a moment, taking my eyes off of what's going on in front of me and in my life. And when I do that and I, deliver flowers or a compliment or a coffee or say hi or help out a neighbor, I think that helps me then see into somebody else's situation. And then two things happen. One, whenever you give, it's almost like I receive more than what I gave.
100%.
Like there's a joy that comes.
Yep.
But two, you notice that other people are walking through things too. So then you don't necessarily feel alone in what you're walking through. I think sometimes when I have struggled or I have been feeling the opposite of grateful, right? I'm so focused on the situation that we talked about last time, putting our eyes and focus on God, takes our eyes off the situation and magnifies who God is. But then also when we do it for other people, it helps us see other people are walking through things and you can show up and help and learn and support. Then you, in love and support, then you don't necessarily feel so alone. Because I sometimes have felt the feelings of like, oh, I'm the only one struggling with this or going through this. And that's not the case. We all live in the world. We all walk through different situations. Because the world is hurting and broken, and there are different seasons when we're on the mountaintop or we're in the valley, but in both places, practicing gratitude and showing up for other people in that way too is so powerful.
But I think too, it not say it minimizes the problem or what I'm walking through, but it does, because I think when you give out that outward expression, not awkward, I think it helps minimize whatever your struggle is that you're walking through, because you're looking at someone else and realizing like, oh, she's walking through pain too. Oh, yep, giving that person a compliment or delivering a meal. It's like it helps you realize I'm not the only one in the position. I think so many times we feel so isolated, like you said, I'm the only one going through it. No, there are other people who are hurting and, walking through hard things. So I think gratitude and gratefulness or showing that outward expression is so powerful, even in the midst of something hard,
I think, too, another practical tip of gratitude is contagious. When we're practicing gratitude and we're sharing that gratitude in relationships, like, I'm so thankful for your friendship. Like a small text. Or, hey, thank you for the way that you showed up and allowed me to share with you last week. That was super helpful. When we are sharing and positively giving gratitude for how other people show up in our lives or the relationships that we have, I think that then fills other people, and like gratitude continues and passes on. This is super funny, but we have this book in education that we read. It's called Being a Bucket Filler. And how everybody has an invisible bucket on their head full of water or, positivity and good things that fills us. And every time we pour out of our bucket, we actually get our bucket filled at the same time. But sometimes people go around and they try to scoop out of your bucket and they say something mean or unkind or whatever. And it actually dips out of both buckets. I know that sounds really funny, but it just totally talks about gratitude. So when you pour out onto somebody else, it fills your bucket and it fills theirs. And so we practice
that illustration. I'm like, okay, that's so true.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of how gratitude works.
What would you encourage someone, or what's that first step that they should take? Like they're in this season of not feeling grateful. Like what's an outward expression that's something we could do, or what's something that maybe you and your kids have done in the past that's an outward expression? I know for us, and I'll speak, like we've tried to help a family in need during Thanksgiving, or someone maybe who's just lacking, of even delivering flowers, or maybe bringing a centerpiece, or even swinging by a dessert, maybe to another single mom or something like that, or just little small tokens of just getting our eyes on ours, off of ourselves and off of, things that maybe we're struggling with, and onto someone who's in need, or just blessing someone just with, coffee or, flowers. So how about for you?
I think one of the things that we do practically in our house is in November, we write on a note card and fill a jar with the things we're grateful for.
I love that.
And then we take them out and then read them after we're done.
Okay.
And it's so interesting too, because I'm doing that with little kids, and the things they're grateful for are like my toys, like the brownies yesterday, my mom, our family. They're very, very foundational things and simple. But if we like zoom back on that, I think when we are as adults, at least for me, when my heart then gets repositioned to like, whoa, I have so many of my practical needs met. I have so many
It's so
family
true.
or emotional needs
Yeah.
met, things like that. I'm like so grateful for my faith and my church and my, like, there's so much there that it just kind of, it sounds weird, but it just goes,
Yep.
it just kind of settles me
Yep.
and helps me have that foundation. And so the other thing that I would say to do is say it out loud.
Yep.
Wake up every morning and say 3 things. So if you want to incorporate it with your family,
Yep.
writing, putting it in a jar,
Yep.
like you did your tree that
Yep.
one year you said.
Yep.
Saying every morning, I am grateful that I have breath in my lungs. I
Yep.
am grateful that I have this home or apartment or wherever you are.
Yep.
I'm grateful that I have my family or my friends or job or whatever it is in your life. 3 things. And I think if you start each morning and verbally say it, it changes
I was
something.
just going to say, up in the
Yep.
wiring of your brain. Yeah, that's so good. Well, I know we do daily affirmations in our house on the car ride to school, but I'm thinking the month of November, like how great would it be to be saying 3 things that we're grateful for, like the power of saying it out loud. Like that.
We would love to hear how you practice gratitude. If you have a way that you practice gratitude or something that has really transformed your life or allowed you to focus on having a heart posture of Thanksgiving, we'd love to hear from you. So you can find us on Instagram and leave it on our comments of our post, or you can drop it in the comments below. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.